Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Pramod Pandey. I'm your faculty for the law paper in this IFRS summary course at KKDL. In this lecture, we would begin with the new standard which is out there as in IC 38 intangible asset. Intangible asset are those assets which would not be having some characteristic like you can touch, you can see, but those are the assets which are out there and that benefit the company some way or other through the economical benefit use, right? So those intangible assets which are there in a company but which cannot be touched, seen, has a characteristic of the intangibility, but that are there to in order to support a business, right? We will learn about that. If I just begin with the story which is out there, imagine there is a company, Technova Limited, a software company. Now, in a software company, there will be so many patent out there. There will be so many licenses out there. You cannot touch, see the license, the right of the license, but that license, those right, those trademark which are out there are going to benefit a company. That will protect the company right? So the company develop a new software internally and also purchase a trademark brand on it. A student offering asks which cost can be recognized as an intangible asset and how should they amortize or test it for the impairment. So this is what the question that is out there. The main thing is that the company has internally generated a brand, internally generated software. Now, in order to develop a software, there are some costs which are basically incurred. Or there's a one thing you always need to know whenever you're recognizing something as an asset or intangible asset, you need to know what is the cost that you have to record it. So what that cost? In that cost, what cost will be going to expense out and what cost will become the part of that cost? So these are certain out which are out there. And then again, if the software is there, so how we can do the testing for the impairment? There's so many outs which are out there because ultimately, but the intangibility means there isn't something which cannot be touched and seen. The characteristic of the intangibility and their software, the brand name, the trademark which are out there. Okay, they basically promote the company, protect the company as well. Okay, now we'll learn about the explanation of the IC 38, which is there. So intangible asset is any asset which is identifiable. There are three things you need to look around to. That intangible asset, which is any asset which would be having identifiable non-monetary asset without physical substance, and that will generate the future probable future economical benefit and whose cost can be reliably measured. Okay, is it clear? So any intangible asset, any asset which is intangible has an identifiable non-monetary asset. It would not be having any physical substance, but that is there to generate a probable future economical benefit for a company. And for that, the cost could be reliably measured so that we can book into the financial statement. Okay? Now the three points are there. They would be having no physical substance, non-monetary asset. Non-monetary means these are not your assets. These are your not cash. These are not your digital currency, right? Okay, and these are identifiable. You can identify from one asset, one intangible asset from another one. Okay, these are separable one or arise from the legal right. Okay, now there's some other type which you need to do. Suppose if there would have been any internally generated goodwill or purchase, we are not discussing of the goodwill, sorry, but we're discussing about the internally generated intangible asset or asset. In your intangible asset, there's one thing that comes as in goodwill. That is a topic we will also discuss down the line in the session. But for now, you need to understand there's some assets out there which are internally generated by a company. There's some asset which the company buy. So intangible asset which is out there, it could either be generated by the company or either it could be brought by the company. Is it clear? So now we'll see if it has been internally generated and purchased. So in that case, what we will do? If any asset which is internally generated by the company, in that case, for all the expenses which has been incurred in the research phase are going to expense out. And in the development phase, you will only capitalize the cost which you are incurring after meeting the development, after meeting the capitalization stage. So in the development stage, you will only capitalize the cost only if meeting the criteria, which is the pirate one, which is something we will be discussing below. Okay. And again, if asset would be having finite life, by the finite life I'm talking about 10 years, 20 years. If this would be having defined life, in that case, you will be amortizing it. This is something you know. For intangible asset, we do the amortization. Okay. So if it would be having finite life, in that case, you will amortize it. If it would be having indefinite life, in that case, though there will be no amortization, but there will be annual impairment testing would be performed. Is it clear? If you have purchased any intangible asset, in that case, you will be recognizing it at the cost. And this cost probably would be having any other direct attributable cost along with the purchase cost, right? Second thing, If you have recognized it, in that case, again, if it would be having a useful life, in that case you will amortize it. And if it would not be having any, if it would be having indefinite life, in that case you will no amortize, because annual impairment testing should be performed. Is it clear? Now, initial recognition for the very first time when you will be recording it into the financial statement, it could only be done if these three conditions are met. What are those? That it is probable that future economical benefit are there. Control would be there by a company over the asset. So the company would be having a control over the asset, and the cost can reliably measure. If these three conditions are meeting, if these three conditions are identifiable or there, in that case, you can proceed with the recognition of the initial recognition. Okay. Now we cannot recognize it, and we have to give it into the expense out. So there are certain situations where we cannot recognize the intangible asset, and whatever the cost we're incurring, that need to be charged into the profit and loss when there would be any internally generated goodwill. Internally generated goodwill will not be having any cost. You will not able to identify which cost coming from and becoming the part of the goodwill. Either it was the labor who were working good way, or it was a customer or anything. It could be a service based things. But by the time when I'm saying about the internally generated goodwill, because we do not know what is an exact cost which is being incurred in order to generate the internally generated goodwill. Just because of that, we will not be making any recognition of the internally generated goodwill, and whatever it has been expend on that is going to be into the P&L as a part of the expenses, right? Whatever the brands, masterhead, customer list, research, startup cost, training and advertisement, whatever the cost which you have incurred, and that is there as a part of internally, that are all going into the expense, right? But remember, when you will sell the internally generated goodwill and the brand, masterhead, customer list to another third party, or either you're buying it from the third party, in that case, they would be having some cost. They would be having some cost. When you're buying from the third party or when you're selling to the third party, then third party can recognize it into the books, because in that case, it will be purchased customer list. It will be purchased customer research, right? It will be purchased brand, and it will be purchased goodwill. So those things could be recognized, but internally goodwill, internally generated goodwill, internally generated brand, masterhead, customer list, if those things are there and that could not be there identifiable, in that case, those are going to be into the P&L head, and that will become the part of the expenses. Is it clear? Now, there's some of the costs which are out there at the research stage and development stage. So, what does it mean when I'm saying that there stages are there, research stage and development stage? So, this is a discussion when you will be having when you're something doing internally generated intangible asset. So whenever you will try to generate any asset internally, in that case, you probably would be spending some cost on research. You will be identifying the demand. You will be identifying the survey. You will be identifying or looking after what is the surveys, what the customer want. So whatever the research phase, whatever you are spending on the research phase will become something, the part of expense, right? So whatever you're spending on the research will become the part of expense, and that is there in a P&L, and they will not be adding up any cost towards the development or the cost that is need to be there into the P&L. All the costs, whatever you're spending in the research stage, will go into the P&L. In once you have been classified as in research stage, and once you're moving out of that and moving towards the development stage, you have done all the research. Now you're moving with the development. From the time you are starting your development to the time it is not meeting the criteria, pirate criteria, which is given there, you will be expense out. You will be expensing out whatever you're incurring. From the time the pirate criteria is meeting in the development stage, in that case, you will be start capitalizing it. Suppose this is a line. This is research, okay? So in that case, you will directly expense out. Suppose this is all the development stage, right? Development stage. But from that movement, your pirate started meeting. So for this movement, you will be again expense out for this period of time. Whatever the cost you're incurring, that will become the part of your cost of the intangible asset that is going to be recognized. Okay. Now, what is this pirate criteria? So these are the certain 6 points which are out there and which you need to take care about. The very first point is that technically feasible. So whatever you're investing, whatever you're trying to internally generate, it should be technically feasible. You should be having enough staff or enough technically sound so that could be possible. Intention to complete. You would be having intention to complete this project. You will be having intention to complete this intangible asset. In that case, you will be meeting the second point. Third point, once you would be having technical feasibility to complete and you have an intention to complete, you should be in a position to sell or use it. Okay, these are the third point which are out there. Then probable economical benefit. So you have a technical feasibility, intention to complete, and ability to use and sell. So whatever you're using out of that intangible asset, that should generate future economical benefit for you. Okay, and then you should be having adequate resources and cost measurement. If these things are there, and if these things are meeting in the development stage, from that point, from the development stage, you will able to recognize the cost, right? Because ultimately this movement, this is the time when these are the certain things which are meeting. In that case, we will start recognizing the cost from this portion. Done. Now, example, whatever you have spent on the initial design, suppose you have spent it close to $1 lakh. So because that wasn't part of the research, in that case, that will go into the P&L. You have spent it on how many? $5 lakh on successful testing. Now remember, testing will come when you have made or completed the project. So that is very near to this point. Yes or no? That is there near to this point. In that case, that will become the part of the development, and that we can capitalize. But the capitalize I'm referring to adding the expense you are incurring into the part of the cost of the asset. Okay, is it clear? Now, what do you have to do for the amortization? If it would be having finite life, in that case, you have to amortize significantly the pattern of the benefit or the way using it. Second thing, if it would be having indefinite life, in that case, there will be no amortization, but annual impairment testing. This is more of like a same thing. Now, second thing, amortization should start when the asset are available for the use. Okay, and consider useful life based on the past performance, technical risks, and legal limits. Right now, when you have to identify the life of an asset, of the intangible asset, when you have to identify the life of the asset, so the other three things you consider, because ultimately intangible asset, defining the life of the intangible asset is very hard. So there are the three things, three factors you will be taking care about. Past performance, what is the past performance of that standard, of that brand which is out there. Second thing, technological risks. If this brand or any intangible asset which is out there, will it be having any risks from the technological or not, that is going to define the life of that intangible asset. And if it would be having any legal rights, legal limits. So these are the certain things. These are the three things. If I being very specific, and will help you in identification of the life of the intangible asset. Done. Now we will talk about the impairment. How the impairment should be done. If it is in finite life, in that case, you have to, finite life means 3 years, 5 years. Finite means any defined period of time for which the asset is there. So by the finite life, you are referring to 3 years, 5 years. So in that case, you have to test for the impairment only if there would be any hint. And you probably would be knowing about the hint that we have discussed from the ISA 36. Now, if it would be having indefinite life, in that case, you have to test the annually. Is it clear? So impairment will depend on the nature or the life of the asset. If the life of the asset is finite, in that case, you will be testing the impairment only if there would be any hint. If the life of the asset is indefinite life, in that case, you will be testing the impairment annually. Okay, and if there would be any impairment, in that case, you will be putting that into the P&L. Done. Now, what are the measurement models are there? So there are the two measurement models are there. The very first one is in cost model, which was same in your property, plant, equipment, and your investment property, and that is also a same in that is there. But there is also the revolution model. Okay, so these are the two models which are out there, and exactly like your ISA 16. But remember, in your investment property, in your property, plant, equipment, it would have been that you could have choose this revolution model. This was an optional one. But when we're discussing about the ISA 38, which is an intangible asset, using the revolution model becomes hard, because ultimately the value that is there in the revolution model is a fair value. And for us, in the intangible asset, it is very hard to identify the fair value. Okay, so use of the revolution model is only possible if there would have been active market exist, and which is very rarely applicable. So just because of that, we will not be using the revolution model. But in the case of the cost model, cost less accumulated amortization and impairment, these are certain things that you will use. And this is exactly what is there in your property, plant, equipment, and other way around. Is it clear? Now we will see what are the other things that are there and what could go wrong in your AAA paper. So it could possible that whatever the costs which should become the part of the research, you have make the part of the development, right? You are not capitalizing that cost which is there in the development stage. So these are the certain things that could go wrong. Testing research cost as an asset. You're treating the research cost as an asset, which is wrong. Instead, it should have been into the expense of P&L. You're capitalizing internally generated brand or goodwill, which is again a wrong. So if a company, if a company is trying to recognize or internally generated brand or goodwill, in that case, they're doing the wrong treatment. And you have to point out that. You have to upfront that, right? And starting the amortization before the asset is available for use. In that case, the company is also doing the wrong thing. Okay. Ignoring the annual impairment for the indefinite life intangible asset. It could possible there will be any asset in a company and the company is not testing the impairment for that. So in that case, you have to point out that it could give a caution in audit as well, right? There will be a caution on this. So ignoring annual impairment for indefinite life intangible asset. So in that case, you would have to put on that if there would be any intangible asset with an indefinite life, in that case, you have to test for the impairment annually. Is it clear? Then it could be that you are confused about finite and indefinite life for a amortization and applying the revolution model when there is a no active market. Okay. These are the certain things which are out there. And because ultimately, in order to overstate their asset, company might use the fair value for the intangible asset, but which is something wrong, because ultimately, if they would have not have been any active market and still the company is using the fair value for their intangible asset, in that case, the company is doing something wrong, and that should not have been done. For example, Microsoft Window, it would be having a finite life. You probably would be knowing, so that you can, in that case, you will amortize it. Now, Microsoft Window has a characteristic of the intangible asset, something we've discussed: identifiable, separable. Third thing, the cost can be reliably measured and the future economical benefit will flow to the entity. Okay. Next thing, Apple iOS, it would be having finite life. In that case, you will amortize it over the expected life. Internally generated brand, which would be having indefinite life. So in that case, you have to look for payment annually. There will be no amortization. You just need to look for payment annually, and you have to assess yourself whether there would be any need by the company, or if there would be anything which is happening in a company or surrounding in a company that could disgrade it or disgrade the brand name or the brand image. So in that case, you have to look for the impairment, right? Then purchase license for 5 years, because the purchase of the license for 5 years, this will benefit the company for the 5 years, and just because of that, it can or it will be amortizing over the 5 years, okay, on the basis of the straight line. So that was a standard that you need to know, and that was all what you need to know for your standard IC 38 intangible asset. So with this note, I Pramod Pandey, your tutor, your faculty for this law and this IFRS summary course, would be taking signing from this lecture. Would like to meet you in the next one. Till then, take care. Have a good time.